3 principles for using a credit card. Let's go through 3. I was going to say biblical, but I guess the Bible doesn't talk about credit cards, but it talks about debt. Let's go through these 3 things. First one is never use credit cards for anything other than budgeted items. This means because of the impulse spending, because of the 26% extra spending. If you're going to use a credit card, the only way you use it is if you're going to use it on something that you know you're already going to buy. This is the first rule. If you violate this rule, you're not mature enough to have a credit card. All right, I'm playing the role of dad today. This is the dad role. This is what dads need to tell people all the time. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. I'm playing the dad role today, all right? So, because otherwise you've got this fancy piece of plastic and you see something you really want, or an opportunity comes up and you're so excited by it, you say, well, I hadn't planned to get it, but I'll get it because I can put it on my credit card. And that's an impulse expenditure. A budgeted item is, well, I've got this much to spend on food this month, I've got this much for living expenses, I've got this much for entertainment, this much for whatever. I've got all my stuff worked out in separate buckets. And we're going to do a separate week on, actually next week we're going to be talking about, it's not a very sexy subject, but we're going to be talking about budgets a little bit. I want to give you some really practical help of how you can be consistent with a budget. But this is the first one, is that you never use a credit card for anything other than budgeted items. And I got to tell you this, it's so funny to think about this. There's a Chase credit card that's called Freedom, right? Anyone here have that credit card? I actually had that credit card. Some here, okay. Get that credit card, cross out the word freedom, and write slavery. It's the exact opposite of what it really is. Debt is slavery, right? And we should all be against slavery. We should hate slavery. So we shouldn't be voluntarily putting ourselves into bondage with slavery. All right, the second thing about credit cards is this. No. Pay off the entire balance every month. This is the second principle of using a credit card, is that the balance, whatever balance you have, it needs to be paid in full every month. Otherwise, you're paying 18% on that. Now, some people are like, well, I've got a 0% interest thing for 24 months. Like, great, what happens when that runs out? Well, I transfer it to another one that's 24 months, 0% interest. Well, great, what happens after that? I mean, this is not a sustainable strategy. We have to realize, right? This is not sustainable. I mean, there might be times we're in dire straits and you do certain things for certain reasons, but these are bad decisions for the most part. So if we're not paying it off the entire balance every month, we're not responsible enough to have a credit card. Number 3, third principle is destroy the card if you are unable to pay it in full. This is where the rubber meets the road, is that we have to make tough decisions. I met a lady years ago, actually, who said, she said, I am never ever going to allow myself ever to have a credit card ever again. She says, I cannot be trusted with them. I just buy and spend and I get into a really bad place. So she uses purely either cash or debit. You have to make that decision. If you got balances and they're not being paid off, we've got to make that decision today, say, to get rid of it.
When you like and subscribe, this video reaches more people.